Hi guys, I'm back again with another optional video. I had someone ask me to go over homework 91, so I figured why not, we'll throw that in also. So here goes. For starters on this one, you were asked to find the value of x. What you are supposed to be applying here is the fact that the 7 and the 7 is showing us that these two chords are congruent. If these chords are congruent, then the arcs that are getting cut off have to be congruent. So to do this problem, all you have to do is make one of those 5x equal the other one 105. And then you would need to divide both sides by 5. So your final answer for that problem is 21 degrees. Next problem, again, same idea. These two chords are congruent to each other according to those little marks there, which means these two arcs have to be congruent to each other. So we know that all of the arcs in a circle add up to 360 degrees. You could do that as an equation if you want, or you could subtract this from 360 and then divide by 2. Totally up to you. Let's try the equation. 2x plus 106. All of them together have to add up to 360. Subtract the 106 from both sides. We have 2x is equal to 244, and then divide by 2, and I think I just made a mistake. That's not 244, excuse me, that's 254, and then I'm going to divide by 2, and my final answer there is that each of those arcs measure with the label of x on them would have to be 127 degrees. So my final answer for that one's 127. My final answer for this one had been 21. Coming over here to this problem, we have exactly the same situation again. If this chord is 18 and this chord is 18, then the arcs that are being cut off, this arc over here and this arc over here, have to be equal to each other. So your work there is that 143 is equal to 2x minus 1. Add the 1 to both sides. That's 144 equal to 2x, and divide by 2, and your final answer there is 72 degrees. So those are the top 3 problems. Those are all about the fact that if the chords match, then the arcs that are cutting them off have to match. Now, the next section down here has to do with some of those other rules they went over in lesson 91. For starters, if they'd like me to find the measure of angle 1 here, remember, if this is not a central angle, but it's floating somewhere inside the circle, we have to add the arcs on each side and divide by 2. So that means that the measure of angle 1 here is going to equal 134 plus 86, all divided by 2. Make sure you add them together first, then divide by 2. Your final answer there is supposed to be 110 degrees. Going on to the next problem. This sometimes is a little harder for people to follow, but it's the same rule that we just used here. This angle in the middle is 126 degrees. That means that 126 degrees is equal to the sum of its arc and the opposite arc divided by 2. TS is what I'm trying to find, so I can put an X on that. That turns this into a little equation for me. This 126 degree angle in the middle is equal to x plus 108 divided by 2. And then you have to solve in order to find out what x is. In order to do that, you can put the 126 over 1, and that would allow you to cross multiply. So x plus 108 is equal to 252. And then you would have to subtract 108 from both sides. And when you do that, your x value that you're looking for here is 252 minus 108, which is 144. And that's your final answer for number 2 on that section. And then for number 3 on this section, they're asking me to find the measure of angle 2. This is that other rule that was in lesson 91, which is that if you have a tangent that's meeting a chord, the measure of that angle in there will always be half of the arc that's getting caught inside of that angle. When I look inside of that angle, I see this. I see the 146 degree arc. So in order to get this answer, all you have to do is take that 146 and divide it by 2. Final answer there is 73 degrees. So I hope that helps with the first two sections. You may have noticed that the numbers on these are a little mixed up. That's because I had actually borrowed these problems out of a textbook. So the top 3 problems were on that one rule about there being congruent chords. The second section was a mixture of problems about those other rules from lesson 91. And then down here on the bottom, it's more of the same, kind of like those top ones there. So let's go ahead and try those. So on the bottom section here, they want me to find the measure of angle 3. So again, I'm worried about its arc and the arc that its vertical angle would be cutting off. So that angle 3 that I'm trying to find will equal 90 plus 74, all divided by 2. And when I add those up and divide by 2, I should get 82 degrees. That's my answer. Coming over to number 10, they want the measure of angle JMK. They are trying to trick you here. JMK is this angle over here. That's not the one that they gave us information about. They gave us information about this arc and this arc. So what I can do here is I can use that information to figure out the angle next to the one that I want, and then I can subtract from 180 because together these two here are making a straight line. So I can take 77 plus 79 and divide it by 2 in order to find this pink angle, the angle that's next to the one that I want. When I do that, I am going to get 88 degrees when I'm all done. Oh, I lied. 78 degrees when I'm all done. My apologies. 78 degrees. And then in order to find the angle that they're asking me for, I'm focusing on the fact that these two together are a straight line. So to find angle JMK, I would have to take 180 and subtract that answer that I just got, so that my final answer there would be 102 degrees. And then we can take a look down here at the final 2 problems. These again have to do with that other rule about it being a tangent and a chord. The angle formed when a tangent meets a chord is half of the intercepted arc. So the intercepted arc here is 194 degrees. All you have to do is take 194 and divide it by 2. Final answer there, 97 degrees. And then your last question, they want the measure of angle ABD. They're trying to trick you again. Remember that in order to find this angle, you would need half of the intercepted arc, which you don't have. You have the other arc. But you also have the knowledge that all of the arcs around the outside of a circle add up to 360 degrees. So we can take 360 and subtract 154. When we do that, we'll come out with 206 degrees. And then, since we know that this arc is 206 degrees, we can take 206 and divide it by 2 for a grand total of 103 degrees. So if you had some trouble doing any of those problems on your own, I hope this little video helped explain how to do them. And let me know if you have any more questions.